What is the Idaho Farm Bureau Federation? Well, it just happens to be the largest general farm organization in Idaho with over 80,000 member families. Basically, the Idaho Farm Bureau is a voluntary grassroots organization dedicated to strengthening agriculture. It protects the rights, values, and properties of its member families as well as its neighbors. For almost 80 years, the Idaho Farm Bureau Federation has been refined and modernized by the voice and efforts of Idaho farmers and ranchers. This is the secret ingredient that has led to its long-standing success. Perhaps the best place to start is to introduce you to the Idaho Farm Bureau Policy Book. It contains over 170 policies on a range of topics. Most of them are directly related to agriculture. This is an important book because it guides the work and the efforts of Idaho Farm Bureau's leadership, volunteers, and staff members who advocate and defend Idaho agriculture each year. In other words, it keeps everyone on the same page when deciding what actions or steps the organization needs to take next. Now, anybody can propose an idea to add or change or delete something in this policy book, but the idea has to have enough merit to go through 4 levels of review and discussion. First, a person must visit with their local county farm bureau board. I'll talk about them in just a minute. Rather than calling them ideas, we refer to them as resolutions. If the county board thinks it's a good resolution, they will pass it to the district level and then onto the state resolution committee to be reviewed and voted on. And then if passed, it gets a little exciting. That simple idea or resolution that came from an ordinary person living in a county somewhere in Idaho is now brought before a large group of people called the House of Delegates. This usually happens sometime right after Thanksgiving. Each county elects 2 farmers or ranchers to sit on the House of Delegates to go through all of these proposed additions, deletions, or changes to the policy book that came up through the process. It is common to have between 80 to 100 new resolutions for consideration in a normal year. The House of Delegates will analyze and debate each new resolution one by one and then vote. All resolutions getting a majority vote go into the policy book, and when an issue connected to that resolution comes up in Idaho, the Idaho Farm Bureau Federation knows what their direction is going to be on that issue because it is outlined in the policy book. Sometimes there are issues that affect people in Idaho that need to be addressed at the national level. Like Idaho, each state and Puerto Rico have their own Farm Bureau organization, but each state also belongs to what is known as the American Farm Bureau Federation, which has over 6 million members, elected farmers and ranchers for leadership, and a professional staff. The Idaho House of Delegates may vote to send a resolution to the national level to be considered for the American Farm Bureau policy book, but don't forget, every policy, even for national issues, must start at the county level. Now, some may say, that sounds like a lot of work, and it is, but the wisdom in the process is that it gives the Farm Bureau Federation a constant perspective and allows it to change with the times without being victim to whims and knee-jerk reactions. A county may get something in the policy book one year and then, due to new circumstances, may propose to delete that same policy a couple years later because it's no longer needed. Someone else may say, hey, that sounds like a great way to set the backbone of your organization, but who's going to carry out the work to turn this policy into action during the rest of the year? This is where it is important to understand the basic structure of the Idaho Farm Bureau Federation. Idaho farmers and ranchers come together all over the state to elect their leadership at different levels. Each one must be a bona fide farmer and rancher. They elect people to serve as presidents and board members for their own counties. They also elect a president and board members to oversee the organization at the state level. All positions have a specific term before they run again in the next election cycle. Over 1,000 farmers and ranchers serve in leadership positions today in the Idaho Farm Bureau Federation. There is also close to 20 full-time paid staff who work in governmental affairs, organization, information, administrative services, and commodities. Combined efforts of volunteers and staff allow the organization to have boots on the ground at all times to carry out a host of responsibilities. Full-time lobbyists and volunteers interact with legislators to make sure accurate information is used to decide laws and regulations affecting Idaho agriculture. Commodity committees with staff support come together to make sure that the organization is closely tied to Idaho's largest agriculture commodities. The Idaho Farm Bureau Information Team works with volunteers and media outlets around the state and country to make sure that the story of agriculture is told and helps keep members educated on today's agriculture issues. The organization team lives in their assigned Idaho districts and serves as liaisons between each county board and the state organization. There are volunteers of the Idaho Farm Bureau that organize and coordinate farmers and ranchers under the age of 35 and promote the development of future leaders. Doing good and supporting good causes have been a big part of Idaho Farm Bureau. Women and men of all ages have given hours of service for specific needs in Idaho's communities. There are volunteers in the Idaho Farm Bureau that organize and coordinate ag education in the state. One of the largest programs currently in motion is the MAC trailer that allows volunteers to teach school children about Idaho agriculture. This program alone is used by over 40,000 Idaho school children each year. For almost 80 years, the Idaho Farm Bureau Federation has worked to establish quality benefits for its members. The largest of these benefits is the Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company of Idaho, which was started in 1947 when farmers struggled to find insurance for their farms. There is a wide range of opportunities for people inside and out of agriculture to learn, network, and be empowered to make a difference. Whether you are a farmer or rancher, or just a person who cares about their food and fiber, all people are invited to be part of the Idaho Farm Bureau Federation. Together, this grassroots organization will continue to work effectively to feed our families, our communities, our nation, and our world.